Hello, I'm Patty Milne, Marion County Commissioner. Welcome to another edition of Marion County, your community partner. This month's show, the month of June, is all about Marion County Public Works. We're here at the Marion County Public Works office at the campus that's located on Silverton Road, just off of Cordon Road in Salem. And we will be touring today this entire campus. We will go inside and we will talk to the Marion County Public Works Director, Bill Worcester, and I'm certain he's going to be able to introduce you to many other people who work here. Division heads, all the people who provide the multiple services and programs that come under Public Works. And there's a long list of those things that happen right here. Not everything relative to Public Works happens out on the road. And before I forget to mention, a huge portion of Marion County Public Works, of course, is the operations and engineering. And that is about roads, the road maintenance, filling the potholes, putting slurry. I don't know all of the technical terms, but they take care of the roads, they take care of the bridges, and we also have two ferries in Marion County. In the north part of the county is the Wheatland Ferry, and in the south part of the county is the Buena Vista Ferry. And you will be going there and seeing the ferries in operation. I hope that'll encourage you to use them. Also in Public Works, the long list of the various divisions and programs includes the surveyor. Surveyors check corners, surveyors check boundaries, and surveyors are very important to make certain that properties are appropriately accounted for. Emergency management is a very important department, and as you will remember, just a couple of years ago in Almsville was that hurricane, and we just had terrible flooding in Turner. The emergency management people jumped right to action and worked with individuals at all levels of government to help the citizens in Turner. Planning and building inspection, well, we're experiencing a very slow time right now, but it's very important. When you want a building permit, you want to do something, add an addition to your property, build a new home, build a new agricultural related building, you come here and to this location and get your building permits and make sure that everything is going to work. Service districts, there are a number of lighting and sewer districts in the unincorporated areas of Marion County. That's all taken care of here as well. The Marion County Dog Shelter comes under Marion County Public Works. Now the dog shelter is located out on Almsville Highway by the Sheriff's Office, and we'll get you out there to see that, that facility as well. Marion County Parks. There are a number of county parks, and we hope you're enjoying them, and we'll be talking about those parks a little bit later as well. Marion County Weed Control District. Noxious weeds are a horrible problem, particularly to our farmers, and cost millions of dollars to the farm industry. So that's an important program we have there as well. The County Fair, Marion County Fair, which by the way is July 12th through July 15th this year, is also overseen by individuals here at this location. As I look across the parking lot here, there are a number of buildings and shops. Marion County Public Works services the Marion County fleet. That includes the cars that county employees use to get to services and meetings. It includes maintaining and servicing the sheriff's vehicles. So we will also be showing you that. So we're so glad that you're back here to watch this next edition of Marion County, your community partner. Again, this month's show is focusing on Marion County Public Works. Well, we've come inside the Marion County Public Works facility, the campus here on Silverton Road, and we are here. I'd like to introduce Bill Worcester, the Marion County Public Works Director. Bill has been with Marion County for 29 years and as Director of Marion County Public Works for about 4 years, a little over 4 years.
A little over 4 years now, right.
Yeah, so thank you for taking time to visit with me.
Welcome, yeah, thank you for coming.
Yeah. So we're going to visit a little bit, Bill, and then you're going to give a tour of the facility and show our viewers all the things that happen here on this campus. So Public Works is one of our largest departments in Marion County. As you were telling me earlier, not the biggest, but third?
I think we're third, right, behind Health and the Sheriff, right.
Good, and there are 5 divisions, Marion County Public Works, 13 programs, and...
Right, that's about right, yeah.
and so those would include, I know there's everything from engineering and operations to surveying and even the dog shelter. What else do you oversee?
Well, to kind of go division by division, starting with administration, they do all of our finance, accounting, payroll, which we think is pretty important, and contracts. They oversee our special districts, like for instance the East Salem Service District and other special districts we have. They do all our records management and just general admin support. Engineering does our design and oversees construction of our capital improvement projects, which include, when we have money, bridge replacements or major repairs to the road system, like we had after this year's floods. We had considerable damage out there, so engineering's been involved in making repairs to the areas that were damaged. They also actually oversee the county surveyor's office, which maintains all of our 50,000 plus survey records in the county, and they do a lot of work out in the field to restore corners that private surveyors need when they do their own surveys. So there's and then also engineering issues a lot of permits for transportation and other kinds of activities like that, particularly to oversize, overweight trucks, which we have quite a number of in the county, and we think that's an important program because trucks do a lot of damage to road systems if they're not legal weight. So we do keep an eye on that.
Nor would we want one to get stuck under a bridge.
That has happened on occasion, yeah, and it seems like it happens more now that people have navigation systems that they're watching instead of necessarily looking out the windshield. So we've had a couple of those. Building and planning. As the name implies, they are our building inspection group, and that's where you get your building permits, and they do the inspections. If you're building anything from a small auxiliary building up to a major, say, apartment house, they'll be out there inspecting to make sure the project meets codes and conforms to the plans. And then our planning section, they do our land use planning, so that's where you go if you, for instance, want to apply for a conditional use to maybe open home occupation on your property, or possibly maybe a processing operation on farmland. You'd go to planning and they'd walk you through that process. And they also issue some permits, like for events and those kinds of things. Operations maintains our about 932 miles of paved roads and almost 200 miles of gravel roads and 146 bridges, so they keep on top of those things, and we have really excellent folks there that have a lot of skills, and so they have their hands full kind of trying to keep our infrastructure together, which is kind of a challenge these days. And then last but not least, we have environmental services, which they manage all the hauling of garbage and garbage disposal in the county, and also our recycling programs. We've instituted some new programs in the last year or two. For instance, food waste composting now goes along with your yard debris. So we're doing a number of things there that we're proud of, and those folks work with Covanta, which runs our waste to energy facility in Brooks, and works with the franchise garbage haulers, so manage the waste flow in the county.
Good.
So that's kind of a quick overview.
That's a quick one.
Yeah.
And maybe, because there's so many, maybe you already did touch on it, emergency management.
All right, I skipped
And we have
yeah.
had some natural disasters
Yes.
recently, so can
Right.
you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm glad you reminded me. Emergency management, that's under operations, and they are a very small group. There's only 2 people there, but we do have everybody in the department is eligible to participate in emergency management activities and to get training for that.
Mm-hmm.
So when we do have a natural disaster, like the flood we had in January, we'll open up what we call the ECC, which is the Emergency Coordination Center, and that's downstairs in this building. Basically, we coordinate with emergency operations centers around the county, and in this case we had one in Turner, which we coordinated with, and also City of Salem when we were having the flood. And so emergency management in between events, actual events, does a lot of training and drills and exercises. And one of their roles, along with engineering, after the flood this year was to work on the cost recovery with FEMA and federal highways so that we could get as much money back as possible from the federal government.
Good, good. So they're always ready. When we're finished visiting here, and you're going to take the viewers on a tour of the facility, you will also be going into the shop area.
Yeah,
And you can,
we sure
can you talk a little bit about what happens there?
Sure. One of our things that we do, and the administration division oversees this, is we manage the fleet for the counties. So we have the light duty fleet, which is the pool cars, and you may have arrived in one today. I don't know
No,
if you
I
got
didn't,
one.
but
Okay, you could have if that would have worked for you. But yeah, we maintain the light duty fleet, which is the cars, pickups, sheriff's vehicles. We do all that over in our shops, and then we also maintain our own heavy duty fleet, which is the dump trucks, graders, sweepers, other grade-alls, other big equipment that we use on the road system. So yeah, we have quite a good crew of mechanics over there, and a good fleet management system, and an extensive parts room over there that handles all the parts that we need for all those rigs. So yeah.
Good. And then I'm thinking of one other thing. I want to talk a little bit about public works as it relates to our strategic plan. But before that, would you also touch on the Marion County parks? We have
sure.
How many parks? And that's another huge responsibility here at Marion County Public Works.
Right, yeah. Parks come under environmental services, and we have 19 parks and 1 employee, so that's a fairly large ratio of parks per employee, but we do hire a summer temp to help Russ manage all the parks. But right, the parks are heavily used, and they're in real popular locations around the county. I think for the size staff we have, they really do a great job of maintaining those, and we're actually doing some improvements. Recently we got a grant for our Bear Creek Park up off the North Fork Road. We've drilled a well, and we're bringing in power so we can actually supply water to some campsites up there that we'll be developing. So that's kind of an exciting move for us.
Good. Very good. Well, as I mentioned, Marion County, at Marion County we have a strategic plan. There are seven county strategic planning goals, and I noticed that Marion County Public Works actually oversees 2 of those, and one is transportation and the other is emergency management that we just talked about a minute ago. You mentioned the 932 miles that are paved and 200 and some that aren't, and these maintenance and preservation of these comes under, you have a 20-year maintenance and preservation document. And can you talk a little bit about that and how that works? I mean, I get a lot of calls about when are they going to come and fix this road, or can't they fix this, can't they fix that? Right. And so how do you decide those allocations and road improvement projects?
Right. It all starts with the transportation planning rule that was passed by the legislature about, I believe, 10 years ago or so, which required all the counties and cities to have transportation system plans. And so our plan was adopted by the board back in, I believe, '99, and is now currently being updated again. But what we do is, to meet the requirements of the transportation planning rule, we do have a rural transportation system plan, RTSP. And within that we have 5, 10, 20-year plans for improvements that would meet needs out there that we're foreseeing in the system. So so that's kind of where it has its basis. And then so that's kind of the overall framework. And then as for budgeting purposes, from the TSP, we actually develop a capital improvement program that reaches out about 10 years and actually tries to allocate money specifically to projects, year by year, so that we can forecast our needs out there. So, yeah, it's a lot of planning effort goes into that document, right?
Good. In this county strategic planning goal, there's a bit of a discussion here about connectivity. Can you talk about that? What does that mean, and how do we do that?
Right, yeah. Well, one way we do it is, and right now subdivisions are not being developed very fast due to the economy, but they will be again, and they have been in the past. And one of the things the transportation planning rule tries to encourage and promote is that if, say, you build a new development, be it a subdivision, or maybe you're just building a few houses on a smaller partitioning or something like that, if there's a neighborhood next to you, you would attempt to develop streets and bike and footpaths to connect the two, so that people have different ways of getting around, different options for traveling around the neighborhood. So that's one way.
And then how does that fit with, we talked a little earlier about airports and rail connectivity.
Right, yeah. We try to actually kind of dovetail the transportation system plan to the other modes, into the other modes. We don't directly, maintain or govern the airport or rail. Those are done by the state, but we do try to interface with those so that, for instance, the road system serves rail terminals effectively. We have a lot of railroad crossings in the county, grade crossings, where the road crosses at the same elevation as the tracks. And those take a lot of beating from heavy traffic, truck traffic, and the rail traffic itself. So when they have to be repaired, we work with the railroads and the Department of Transportation's rail division to try to do cooperative efforts to repair and replace railroad crossings.
Good. And of course there is the recognition in this goal of the importance relative to economic development and the vitality and the prosperity of our local commerce. So
right.
Important part. The other, you touched earlier on emergency management and disaster, and how and we have had some natural disasters in the last couple of years, and so emergency management has jumped into gear there. Any other comments as it relates to state and federal and working together with other local, be it local or cities throughout the county, or any other efforts too? And I know this requires a lot of volunteers. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, volunteers really are important to us. We have our Adopt a Road program, which volunteers can join that, and they can then maintain a section of road where they pick up trash, which we really appreciate, because we're hard pressed to do that with our staff, and so we really appreciate the time people put into that. Kind of a new thing in emergency management, and we actually were able to exercise it during the flood, is called an emergency volunteer center. And when we had the tornado in Amesville, year and a half ago, the small emergency operations center over there was kind of flooded with volunteers who really wanted to help out, and it was kind of hard to manage that in the midst of managing the actual emergency and the recovery. So out of that came the idea of why not have a separate emergency volunteer center that actually people can report to. It's not on the same real estate necessarily as the emergency operations center, but that way volunteers can have a place to go sign in and then be dispatched out to where they can do the most good. So I think that's been a real positive thing, and that certainly involves the other communities too. So
good. And I think people who want to volunteer in the case of when emergency, the emergency management, the
ECC?
The ECC, when it's up and running and there is some kind of, whether it's a natural or man-made disaster, but people should keep in mind they can call the county, get in touch with us about getting registered. I don't know if that's the correct way to say it, but so that they are ready to go in case of an emergency and they want to be put to work. I understand that's part of the new program. They can
I think the
sign up. And
Kathy Crocker, I think, can help them sign up. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a couple of our volunteer groups, the other ones that work with emergency management. One is ARIES, the Amateur Radio Society, which does communications for us when cell phones don't work or radios go down, those kind of things. And then we just about less than a year ago, we had the Volunteer Medical Corps move over to Public Works from Health, and so we house their trailer, and they that's a group of physicians and health care professionals that have been really a real boon to the emergency operation effort also.
Good. Well, as we wrap this little visit out, then you'll be taking the viewers on a tour here of the facility. As we talk about volunteers, I'm reminded there are a number of volunteer opportunities, even just in the Public Works Department. There are volunteer opportunities in planning and building inspection, I understand, from doing a little review of some information. The parks, parks can use the help of volunteers. The dog shelter, which we didn't talk about, we're going to do a highlight. October is Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, and we'll be highlighting the Marion County Dog Shelter at that time. But nonetheless, there are volunteer opportunities there. There's a Marion County Weed Control District that's a volunteer opportunity, and that also comes under your department. And the Marion County Fair has volunteer opportunities, and that's currently here, and there may be a slight change there, but anyway.
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities if someone's interested,
So well, I want to thank you, Bill, for visiting with me and sharing information with the viewers about Public Works, Marion County Public Works Department. And again, I'm not going to be with you on the tour, but I will turn that over to you now to take the viewers on a tour of this facility here, the Silverton Road campus.
Okay, well, thanks, Commissioner, for coming by. We always appreciate your interest in what we do, and I really appreciate the chance to talk to you. Well, let's start with planning. This is where you come to get your land use permits. Could be a conditional use. It could be you want to develop a subdivision. Maybe you want to find out what you can do on your farm property. And this is where you come to our counter here, and Dee would normally direct you from our other counter over to one of the planners, but she would be one of the folks that will be helping you through the process. Okay, so here we have our service districts and our office manager in that office there. They handle all the business of special districts like the East Salem Service District, the Brooks Sewer District, Fargo Sewer District, lighting districts, and there's quite a number of those. So they take care of all the administration right here. So in this area we have our 3 code enforcement officers, and their job is to work with folks to get compliance with our many provisions that we have in our Marion County codes. And so they have a lot of contact with the public, and it's pretty interesting work at times, but they do a great job for us. Okay, and in this area we have various things having to do with administration. Our contracts administrators back here, our management analyst, and then in this area we have our all-important payroll folks that we really treat nicely here, and finance and accounting, purchasing, and receivables, and all the basically the accounting functions for the department. Okay, and this is our engineering area, and what you're looking at right here is our transportation permit section, where Laura issues hundreds and hundreds of permits for oversized, overweight trucks and other issues having to do with permitting. And then off to my left here is where our inspectors are, who go out and inspect driveway locations, utility work, and just look at a lot of issues out in the field that then oftentimes come back here to be worked on in the office. Well, we're moving farther back into engineering, and we just went by the traffic engineering area a second ago, and they do a lot of work out in the field, looking at vision hazards, other safety problems. They take our traffic counts throughout the county every year, keep a lot of data. This area you're looking at right now around me is basically our design and construction section, where over to my right we have our engineers, and then kind of around me are our technicians who inspect the work out in the field and make sure that the contractors are building our projects according to the plans and maintaining excellent quality for the public. Okay, these are the plans examiners' workstations here. These are our folks who are part of building inspection, and they're the ones who review plans when you submit plans for a building permit. They'll be talking to you if they see any issues with the plans that you submitted, but then they'll approve the plans, and they go out to the inspectors, who will then inspect out in the field to ensure that your project's meeting all of the required building codes, and that it's being built according to the plans. Yeah, this is part of our surveyor's office, and you're watching Stephanie hard at work on a CAD drawing. She does a lot of not only survey work, but drawings for the engineers, because she has really excellent computer-aided drafting skills, so we rely on her for a lot of that kind of work, as well as just pure survey work. What you see here is three of our plans examiners hard at work reviewing a set of plans for a building inspection customer, ensuring quality as projects get built out in the field. What you're looking at here is our surveyor's vault, and it's fairly small room, but we keep it very tightly secured. It's got a halon fire extinguishing system because we have 50,000 plus irreplaceable survey records in here that date back to probably the 1850s. So it used to be that a lot of people came in here and did research, private surveyors, but now we do most of that online because all these records are on our website. So actually, they're not being handled nearly as much as they used to. So that's certainly a plus as far as preserving the integrity of the records goes. So what you're looking at here is kind of the central area in our office. It's a customer service area that serves both building inspection and the surveyor's office. Off to my left here, you'll see some folks at our building inspection counter being helped by one of our building inspection permit technicians. That's where you come to get your building permits and deal with any issues having to do with projects that you may be building out in the county. And then also we help the survey customers that come in and need help. They can get help right here, although most of that actually is being done by through our online system now. So we don't get a lot of walk-in traffic like we used to in the surveyor's office, but there are those who need help, so this is where that happens if you come in here and need help with the survey. Well, this is where customer service at Public Works really starts. This is our main reception area, our front desk, and receptionist like Nancy will guide you to whoever you need to talk to, and she also answers a lot of phone calls and lots of other jobs in between. So, but this is where you start with Public Works if you need help, either by phone or as you walk in. So this is our emergency management office, small office with a couple of people, and also our safety program is actually housed in here. So they do all the coordination for our drills and public involvement, and then actually coordinate when we have a real emergency, the operations of the Emergency Coordination Center. And our safety officers in here also. And that's an area that we're really trying to emphasize internally in Public Works, is to improve our safety record and our make sure that everything we do is as safe as we can make it for our employees and for the public also. What you're looking at there is old survey tools that are, have been used in the past and aren't so much anymore, but they're kind of interesting artifacts. And then our crews out in the field, as they dig up old monuments and things, or look for monuments, they find all kinds of interesting artifacts. And on the top shelf on the right is a piece of old wooden water pipe. It used to be made out of wood staves. It's kind of interesting to see what our guys have found in the field over the years. That's where a lot of these old interesting things come from. Okay, well, what you see in here, this is our dispatch area, recently remodeled, in fact. So it looks bigger than it used to. It used to be a little more crowded, but this is where our dispatchers, highly trained professionals, I might add, Mandy and Laura, they take radio calls, phone calls. They're in touch with the crews out in the field, so when there's a complaint, they can relay that to the field, or if there's any kind of emergency out there. So after hours, our dispatch is handled by Sandy M Dispatch, which will take your calls. And but this is our dispatch center during working hours. This is our area where our Rhodes supervisors work, and you can see the handheld radios there on the chargers. We really have a great radio system that's actually been expanded and improved over the last few years to where we have pretty good coverage throughout the county now. And we also maintain the radio system for the sheriff's office and really all the county vehicles. So, this is where our operations crews are actually managed by their supervisors that operate out of this area here. So it looks empty now because they're all hard at work out in the field. And luckily the weather's cooperating today, so hopefully they're accomplishing their mission out there in the field today. So this is another supervisor's area, but this is part of environmental services. And on my left, Royce, here's our site supervisor for our various transfer stations and recycling sites out at North Marion and Browns Island and other places around the county where you can take your solid waste. But this is kind of where they operate out of. So this area is where our 4 waste reduction coordinators for environmental services operate. And as you can see, it's kind of snug back here, but they make it work. And this is where our Earthwise program is administered. Alan's certified more than 119 businesses now in the Earthwise program, and Beth handles all our advertising, and they work with the community to reduce waste and increase recycling. Well, this is one of our conference rooms in the building, and as you can see, there's a lot of specialized equipment in here. And what this is, it doubles as during emergency management exercises or actual events. This is where ARIES, the Amateur Radio Association, operates. They come in here and they set up their amateur radio equipment and actually handle backup communications for us in case our cell phones quit working or landlines go down. You never know during an emergency, or even our radio system could have a problem. So So we really appreciate Area's help when we have emergencies, and this is their kind of their operational suite back here when we're not using it as a conference room. So this is our environmental services office. We actually call this the daycare area, because when this building was designed, we actually had thought we could have daycare here for the employees. Turned out we needed the office space more than we did daycare, so that's kind of how they wound up down here as an office space. But basically, this is where environmental services is administered, and also our parks employee is down here also. And as I guess I mentioned during my talk with Commissioner Milne, they handle all the garbage flow for the county as well as our 19 county parks. Okay, well, off to my right in Building 3 here, this is basically our automotive maintenance, light maintenance shop. We do oil changes and things like that, light maintenance there. That's where we keep all our tires. And then on the far side of the building is our refueling station for gas for pool cars and other county vehicles that come here for fuel. And then to my left, building number 2, the big shop here, this is our main shop, and this is where we maintain all of our heavy equipment and various other parts of the fleet, be it dump trucks, graders, our crane, down to more heavy work on cars like brakes and transmissions and things like that. So, and I don't know if you happen to pick up the pickup to my left here, but you'll notice a cone sitting behind it. That's part of our new safety program, where we've asked people to put cones behind their rigs, because we've had a number of backing accidents, and the idea is with a cone there, you're going to know what's around you before you back up. So that's part of our safety program, and you'll notice I put my vest on, so out here in the traffic, it's always good to have high visibility so that we don't get run over. So, but then here to my right, you'll see a couple of our pieces of equipment that are waiting to be worked on, and so this is where we park them when they're ready to go into the shop for maintenance. And well, let's see, we have our propane fueling station. We use a lot of propane for our tar pots that we use for hot asphalt and a number of other uses that we have for propane. Well, this is our parts room. It's part of our main shop, and you'll see on the shelves there's myriads of parts for all the vehicles and equipment that we maintain. So the parts people order, all the supplies, not only just for vehicle parts, but really a lot of supplies that we use around the campus for a lot of different purposes, hand tools, you name it, anything from hand tools up to an engine or a transmission. So they have a pretty complicated inventory system. They do a great job of keeping track of all the thousands and thousands of parts they handle day to day. Okay, well, on my right here is Building 4. This is our sign shop. This is where our sign crew makes all the road signs that you see out there, and there's probably 35,000 of them out there that we all sort of take for granted, but they are made right here. They have a pretty elaborate computer system that actually can basically make any kind of sign that you can imagine. It can either even take a photograph and make a sign out of it. So they have some pretty nice equipment, but they are very often out in the field putting up stop signs or other signs that get knocked down because they're so critical to have in place. So anyway, that's kind of what happens here. And then the rest of the campus, a lot of it is storage for equipment and materials. Like Building 5 behind me is basically a bay where we store trucks and various other kinds of equipment, our portable light plants, variable message signs, things like that. Then off way down in the corner off to my left behind me is where our bridge crew operates from. They have their own building down there because they have a lot of big timbers and other kinds of materials and equipment that they use to maintain our 146 bridges. Well, it's been a pleasure showing you around Public Works today. I think you've seen a lot of the campus. What we didn't show you was a lot of areas where we park equipment and store materials, but that's probably half of our 4 acres or so that we have here is used for those purposes. But I'm glad I've had a chance to show you around a little bit, and it's always a pleasure to see people. If you want to come visit us or give us a call at 503-588-5036 if we can answer any questions for you, and otherwise we hope to see you soon.
I'm Kim Rhodes, and I'm with Marion County Public Works, and I'm the crew leader for the crack seal crew. And right now what we're doing is we're prepping this street for slurry seal, and we go in and we seal all the cracks along the curb line and any cracks that we see out in the street and stuff like that. They'll come in probably another month or so and put a slurry down on, and that'll give us about another 7 to 10 years life on this street.
Hi, we're down here at the Wheatland Ferry. This is a project that we do every 5 years. We have to haul this boat out for the United States Coast Guard hull inspection. So it's quite the process that goes on. We start out by bringing this boat up on some skids, which are behind me, and we pull it up, and then as you can see, underneath we have cribbing, and we jack the boat up, set it on cribbing so that we have access underneath it. And then we go through a process of pressure washing the vessel, taking the aprons off. At this point we look for any damage that may occur. So we pressure wash from one end to the other. And then once we get this painted with our special bottom paint, then we'll bring the cribbing back into this area, push the cribbing back underneath the boat, and then we'll jack the boat back up, take the blocking out, and then when the blocking's out, we'll clean and paint under those areas. And then the vessel will be ready to push back into the water at that time. So this is quite the major project that we've got going on here. Daniel Matheny 5, 10 years of service, 40 more to go.
Casey Clark, ferry operator. I've worked for Marion County for 2 years, been an operator for like 2 months. I really like it out here. This one specifically has been here since 2011. In the summertime we get a lot of bikers, bicyclists. Really the most traffic we get is regulars, or on the weekend you get people just out for a drive. That's when our counts go up. It's really nice to work out here.
Well, we hope that you've enjoyed this edition of Marion County, your community partner, where we've been today at the Marion County Public Works facility, the campus here on Silverton Road. You've had a bit of a tour, had an opportunity to talk with the Public Works Director, Bill Worcester. You've been able to see these shops and talk about so many of the programs that happen here. And next month, we're going to be highlighting the Marion County Fair. Remember, the Marion County Fair is held in Salem at the Oregon State Fairgrounds on Silverton Road also, different location. The fair is July 12th through the 15th. We're looking forward to highlighting that, and I hope you will attend the Marion County Fair.